I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
We are the future, Charles, not them.
I'm kidding.
We're the X-Men, dated metaphor for racism in the 60s.
What's a Magneto? A very powerful mutant.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the second episode of the second season, Kyle, of Enter the X-Verse. I'm your host Nathan and I'm joined by the host who needs no introduction because I gave it away early.
I am Kyle. I am the devil. I'm the guardian devil of the city. Blah, 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 blah.
I have no other funny bit. As mentioned, I am Nathan. I am the innocent citizen of Hell's Kitchen.
Okay.
I'm the bystander. I'm Happy Hogan. That's who I am. I'm Foggy Nelson.
Foggy Nelson. You are other famous characters Jon Favreau has played at some point, I assume.
Kyle, this intro hasn't gone how I thought it would. We're here looking at the 2003 Ben Affleck classic, Daredevil.
Isn't it strange? Isn't it strange?
It's a little bit strange, isn't it?
This sure is a movie. I guess we should explain. Obviously, this isn't part of the X-Men continuity proper. At least it's never been officially connected. But it is a Fox project.
Yes. Back
from when they bought the rights.
This is back where one studio could make multiple different continuities of superhero movies.
It is, and my goodness, Nathan! Even though we've gone forward in time, it feels like we've gone backwards in time.
Yeah, one step forward and two steps back, right?
Yeah, it's really amazing how X-Men feels like we both talked about how it really feels it's aged super well, and this movie is aged terribly. This movie is so dated.
Yeah, this is the stereotype for what people think a superhero movie would be like in the early 2000s.
Yes.
This is in the same category for this feels like a precursor to something like a Green Lantern. Or a Halle Berry's Catwoman.
It's that feeling of we are so much cooler than these silly comic books. Like how edgy and cool we can make these characters.
We're gritty and sexy, Kyle. That's what
we're gritty and sexy. Yeah.
Yeah. We use non-diegetic music in our films with actual lyrics. We have musical interludes.
Oh my god, it's like Suicide 2016 up in here.
What is this? Some kind of Suicide Squad? That's what I said when I watched this film, Kyle.
I was really hoping you would keep track of all the needle drops, but there is some really funny ones.
Yeah, no, I kept track of all the needle drops in DCEU, but I'll be really honest with you, Kyle. I started to hate it. I got to like Shazam, and I was like, I'm not having fun doing this anymore. But like, I'll keep it up till we finish it. And then when we decided that we were going to do a follow-up show, I was like, I'm just not doing it anymore, actually.
That's more than fair. It's a lot of work.
It's just because it's just funny notes for me and you to heart at, you know? But yeah, so a lot of musical stings. We got Nickelback, we get two Evanescence. That's what we got here.
Yeah, I guess out of the way in case it wasn't clear yet. This movie's bad. I don't like this movie.
Yeah. This show, everyone's going to hate this episode, Kel, because me and you are in agreement.
This is a really hot take.
Hot take. Daredevil 2003. Boo. Bad.
It's gonna be a hard movie to talk about though, because unlike any movie I've ever seen, this is a movie where nothing happens.
Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? It's like the film is paced faster than the story unfolds.
Yes.
Like it's 2 hours long, and you get 2/3 of the way through, and it feels like it's still just been a sequence of scenes of people doing things that don't really seem like nothing really forwards the plot.
Yeah, it's paced like an episode of like EastEnders or something, where it's just like a slice of life drama.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, Matt Murdock and Foggy Nelson are doing their court stuff. Oh, that's just not relevant really to the film. He's a lawyer. It doesn't matter.
No, and then after we get that, we get the action scene where he goes and chases down that escaped rapist man, and that doesn't really have anything to do with the rest of the film either.
No, yeah, absolutely. The one good thing this film has going for it is it starts quite strong, I think.
Yes, it starts deceptively strong. I think
the second the flashback ends, okay.
Yeah, when the movie first started, I was like, oh, this isn't so bad. I've always heard bad things about this movie, but this is kind of neat so far. And then at some point, that just stops.
But it's like slipping into a hot bath stops. It's not scary. It's not
Or
like a cliff.
or like a hyperbolic chamber.
Like, oh yeah, yes, hyperbaric chamber, Kel.
Yeah, sorry.
We are not we are not being hyperbolic about this. It sucks. Yeah.
Yes. Well, yeah, but yes, I agree that the opening is good, although it opens with a flash forward that it's not clear at all that it's a flash forward.
It does a Goodfellas.
It does a Goodfellas.
It starts at the middle. For as long as I could remember, I always wanted to be a Daredevil. He's got like I should say I know nothing about the comics, and I've only seen some of the Netflix Daredevil stuff, and I've seen She-Hulk and whatnot, right? I've seen Echo. This Irish priest character.
Yes.
Is this from the comics? Does this character ever show up in the TV show?
He does show up in the TV show, yeah. A big part of Daredevil's deal is Catholic guilt. He has a lot of Catholic guilt about beating people up, so it's pretty common as a story element that he goes to a priest and kind of confesses his sins, and there's this priest who kind of understands what's going on and is trying to counsel Matt about this sort of thing.
So I quite enjoyed that, actually. I quite enjoyed this priest character that he would occasionally go to. I don't know why he knows him, why they have a relationship.
I mean, it's not utilised very well in the movie.
No, but I like the character. You know, sometimes you just see a character and you're like, you seem like a nice guy.
Uh-huh.
That's just how I felt about him. You know, I just bought him. Because, of course, he's going to, a bloodied up man in a devil mask that he doesn't approve of shows up in the church. Of course he's going to help him.
Yeah.
You know? There was never, a moment in the film where, Kingpin takes the priest hostage and he must make a difficult choice.
Yeah, he escapes out the back door and calls the police.
Yeah, he escapes out the back door and he calls the police. Like a snitch. What happened to confidentiality with your priest?
Yeah, but they open with a Goodfellas thing, but why? Because when we catch up to this part in the movie again, I was sort of caught by surprise, oh, that was a flash forward, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's because the film doesn't do a good job at that. It's just the film starts with him all bloodied and bruised and getting his mask taken off and he's in a bad situation. That's your hook, That's just, It's literally just an interesting way to start the film. That's the only reason it does it. And then the flashback is to his childhood. So when the childhood flashback ends, you would suspect, right, okay,
we're jumping back to the present.
We're jumping back to me bloodied on the floor.
Yeah, and then he wakes up in his hyperbaric chamber and I thought, oh, he must have been in that thing healing or something.
Yeah, kind of. And maybe they think that's a twist, Kyle. Maybe you get there and you're like, oh, this was leading up to this.
I think so.
I mean, it would be a bad twist.
It would be a bad twist, yes.
But, Kyle, as we know, they're not above making a bad movie.
Well, yes, fair enough.
Yeah, this film also suffers from the early 2000s trope of lead character being unsolicitedly and creepy to a random strange lady.
Oh my god. How many times are we going to deal with this trope going forward?
I don't think I've ever noticed it in a film like this before. I've not watched X-Men one number of years since we watched it for the show, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then watching it, because I'm watching it with a critic's hat on. I'm like, oh, that's a bit weird. And then this being the next movie that we watch, I'm like, that's the same thing from X-Men. That's a bit weird. He runs into Elektra King from The World Is Not Enough.
You're jumping way ahead, but okay.
Well, we're jumping over this film, Kyle. Where do you want to start?
I was going to start at the only part of the movie which is good, which is the flashback when he's a kid.
Okay, let's do that.
I mean, it's similar to the whole Batman origin story where his parents died, but there is still weird stuff about it. But,
his
it's
father's
okay.
a fighter and the mob.
I think his dad is very well cast. You look at that guy and you're like, that guy's a boxer. Look at him.
But I also think he looks like he'd be a really abusive asshole dad, and he's not.
Well, yeah, but he looks like a mafia hitman,
Yeah, but he's a nice
like
dad.
Like a thug, yeah.
And he's like, I'm not going to take the fall. My son's my biggest, cheerer.
Yeah. My son is cheering for me, so I shall commit suicide. Is basically what that was.
Maybe he didn't know he was going to die. Maybe he thought he would get roughed up. Or maybe he thought he could fight them. Maybe he was arrogant. He was like, it's fine. What are they going to do to me? I've just won. I am the big fighter. But why, knowing that you've taken that risk, leave work out a side door alley and not out the front door?
Maybe he was trying to avoid the people at the front door. I don't know.
It's an alleyway. Has he not seen Batman?
I mean, is this one of those universes where the DC universe is canon, just like Marvel is canon, the DC universe always like that?
It's entirely possible, Kyle. It is entirely possible. You know, I think there's some striking imagery. Like I thought this film was shot reasonably well.
Yeah, it's I'll tell you what I like. I like the sonar vision effect in this movie.
It's alright. It's clearly an after effect that they just shot in film.
Yes, it is.
Because it doesn't look like a CGI shot. It literally just looks like, we shot the Daredevil sonar vision footage on the camera, and then we've put a filter over the top of it, because some of it just actually looks quite photoreal as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I don't think it's terrible. I think it works.
No,
I think it communicates it.
I think because I can see it's just a filter, maybe like my brain just tweaks and goes, that's not quite right. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's fine. It's whatever. It looks like something you could do in Snapchat today, you know? We do have a new entry for the most evil bullies in the world contest, which happens a lot in these movies. Oh, we've beaten up a blind kid, Kyle.
We have AJ from The Sopranos beating up a blind kid.
Never seen The Sopranos.
AJ is Anthony Jr. It's Tony's son.
Right, okay.
He's the lead bully in the bully squad.
Note the bullies when I saw them do their thing. I was like, beating up a blind kid. But then see when they all get their asses handed to them quite easily.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, they all kind of, they were all quite funny and maybe unintentionally as they all just scattered.
Yes.
Like the wild looks in their eyes of fear, but like it was almost like a comical fear. Like I couldn't quite take it seriously.
What is weird to me about that, though, is Matt Murdock learns to be a badass crime fighter before his dad dies.
Because he's training with his dad. Like this is his dad's legacy, almost.
I mean, we don't. His dad doesn't want him to be a fighter, though. His dad wants him to be a doctor or a lawyer.
Clearly, he's doing bad parenting then, because he's just waiting.
But we see him doing his Spider-Man 2002 training montage on the roof.
Yeah, we do. That's very true. We should know. I mean, everyone should know the Daredevil backstory. But he's like, in this film, he's skateboarding through a back alley, and there's just biohazardous waste being rolled
first
around.
He happens to come across his dad beating up some guy for rent money or protection money or whatever.
Yep, absolutely. And then he just freaks out and goes, I'm not taking the shortcut anymore, actually. I'm running away. And through a biohazardous waste facility of some description.
I think they're on the docks. I think he said his dad works on the docks.
Right, okay. And
I think it's a shipment of toxic waste coming in.
And it's definitely not secure, Kyle. It's not up to code. This is an unsecure facility.
I mean, this is like the 80s, I assume, when this is taking place. They don't have all that stuff set up
I don't think that's what's happening. Because he said, the other thing is, Matt Murdock says he was taking a shortcut. Can you take a shortcut through the docks? You know?
It doesn't sound right to me, but...
we don't know this city, you know?
No, we are not natives to Hell's Kitchen, it's true.
No, that's true. Yeah, he just, toxic waste that was unsupervised, fell over or something. He fell off his skateboard, something like that?
No, He was in the way of a forklift, and the forklift swerved to avoid him, and it slashed open one of the barrels, and it slished all the stuff into his eye.
Yeah, that's it. And the only thing it done was blind him. Nothing else.
Well, I guess it also gave him, super senses.
Kind of, maybe. He's like, for the sense that I lost, all my other senses got stronger. Ben Affleck's doing a lot of narrating in this film, a lot of monologuing.
Yes. Which is generally a thing in movie reshoots when they realise that things aren't clear enough.
What's happening. Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely. That's entirely correct. And after seeing, Roll Bat and Bats of the Batman, where Batman monologues, hearing Ben Affleck monologue is, it's all the more echoey, because Daredevil just is Batman.
Yes, I mean... I feel like this movie definitely leans into the Daredevil-Batman connection, which is ironic for what happens later. I feel like usually Daredevil's a slightly more, fun-loving character.
Daredevil is like a working-class Batman.
He's like a working-class Batman. But his appearance in She-Hulk, I would say, is actually the closest to his comic book vibe.
Yeah, okay. I can buy that. I mean, I only know the Netflix interpretation of the character, but yeah, I mean, I could buy that he's a little bit more fun-loving. I do quite enjoy the broody one, just because,
because you're you, yes.
I like broody characters.
Yeah, but I like the scene where he's, figuring out his powers. It's very Superman, Man of Steel, where he's in the room and he's hearing everything all at once.
Yeah. Oh, I got that in my notes here. I was like, we're doing Batman and we're doing Superman. What is this? Some kind of DCEU? And then after that, and not too soon after it anyway, we get our Stan Lee cameo quite early on in the film.
We do get our Stan Lee cameo. I did notice him this time.
Yeah, he's crossed
he was
the
about
street,
to
his newspaper.
Yeah. Still no lines for Stan Lee, not
Still,
yet. He's
two
not,
movies
he's not,
in.
not big enough yet to have lines.
Well, keep it for Fox. For Sony, he has some lines. No, he doesn't. He just is like a general in the first Spider-Man movie, and he
Yes, I think so.
He picks up when Green Goblin throws a pumpkin bomb and it destroys a gargoyle or something that's falling to the ground. He lifts a child and throws the child out the way. Yeah,
I see. Okay,
real super.
It's been a while since I watched those movies.
We should watch that. We should do an Enter the Spider-Verse. Oh, that's
Enter the Sonyverse. Yeah.
Enter the Sonyverse. That'll be short.
We can do a miniseries.
Miniseries. But yeah, so I do give this film some credit for establishing motivations at the start of the film.
Yes, but it's like establishing motivations for the superhero, not for like the plot of the movie.
Oh yeah, he isn't like a character that seems necessarily riddled with vengeance because it's been 20 years or something.
Yeah.
He's not like looking for the man who killed his father, is he?
Well, they kind of imply that he is at the end of the movie.
Yeah, at the end of the movie, they're like, you're the kingpin, you killed my father.
But he didn't know that. He just kind of happened.
Really nice shot. Well, I was saying I like the film shot. I like the shot of dead dad in the alleyway with the red rose quite vibrant on the chest.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
It's quite a nice shot, I quite like
all the best mafia hitmen leave a calling card.
Yeah, I'm quite a fan of a killer calling card, to be honest with you, Kyle. It's just it's interesting. It's like, oh, this character, there's some psychology here,
Mm-hmm.
What do we think of Mr. Duncan as our...
Oh, Michael Clark Duncan?
Yeah.
Best part of the movie by a long shot.
Okay. Yeah, he doesn't want much to do, does he?
He doesn't have much to do, but God, he's good. I just love seeing him.
Yeah, I think he's we've never had a bad Kingpin.
No, I think that's true.
Unless you count the interpretation we got in Hawkeye. Yeah.
He was still doing his thing. I don't know.
Yeah, he just looked like Kingpin on vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm being facetious in saying that. I genuinely think that all of our Kingpins animated and live action have been quite good. I would like to have seen more of Michael Clark Duncan doing a bit of Daredevil. I would
have liked him a lot more than our other villain, that's for sure.
I forgot that our main kind of antagonist of the piece was Irish.
Yes, well, the music in the background will remind you pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, the first note I have here, and it's right from the start of the film, is starring Colin Farrell as Bullseye. It's like that's a hell of a casting role. He would never do that today. Kevin Feige wouldn't be able to tempt him back for Secret Wars, would he?
I don't know, man. Have you seen him play the Penguin? He seems to love this stuff.
Right. But Kyle, are you in fact confirming live on Enter the X-Verse that you think that his portrayal as Bullseye and his portrayal as the Penguin are equal in quality?
No, but no. I will say that I think he's having an equal amount of fun in both of these roles.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I don't think he hated making this movie. I also think, however, he probably didn't care making this movie.
I don't know. Bullseye is bad. I mean, hot take for things in this movie. But yes, I did note down when he's first introduced, he's in this bar and he's hitting all the shots at darts because he can't miss, right? Because that's his thing. The lyrics are, I'm Irish, but not a leprechaun. That's the first things you hear before you even see him.
Yeah, I never noted it down, but I'm never going to forget it.
And what's crazy too is they have this scene where he's in the bar and the guy says some nonsense to him, so he murders him with like paper clips.
Oh yeah,
right?
So he does. He just uses whatever he can, little cocktail sticks or anything like that, and just throws them into people's necks. Yeah,
his powers are silly.
I think. No, here's the thing. I think that would actually be a pretty menacing way to murder people, like just using mundane appliances and throwing them.
I'll say, okay, his powers are not. These are not in general, Bullseye's powers, though, I would say. This is more of a Gambit thing. Of just using whatever and
What are
throwing it at
Bullseye's
people.
powers? I don't think I know.
But he's just a guy who can't miss. It's pretty boring, really. He's just really accurate at throwing stuff.
Well, that's what this film certainly sets up. He can't until he misses, Kyle.
Except he also has, like, super strength because he can impale someone with a blunt object.
Yeah, he got good throwing speed, Kyle. He's got a good throwing arm.
Right, okay.
He knows how to throw a nunchuck or a badminton.
But anyway, what I was going to say is he has that scene where he kills the guy in the bar, and then we cut to another scene of him killing another random person on the plane. Do we need both of these scenes? We got the idea that he doesn't care and he murders people.
Because the first guy killed was not a nice person. The second person he kills, nice little old lady.
She's just very chatty, and Bullseye doesn't know how to use his words and tell her to shut up.
Yeah, so it resorts to murder. Like, he's a psycho.
Yeah.
And
I got it. I understand.
You understand. They didn't need narration for that, They didn't bring Colin Farrell to do some narration.
Thank God.
They were like, how we nailed this on principal photography.
Colin Farrell isn't Irish, is he?
Yeah, he is.
He is?
Yeah.
Like fully Irish?
Yeah.
Okay, then how did we explain this performance?
I have nothing, Kyle. I have absolutely nothing for you what led to this. I think they just... Like I say, I don't think he cared making this movie. He's a younger actor. It's earlier in his career and he's just taking work. He's a gig actor. This is probably like a good job for him. I'm not
But
saying
he has like the Colin Farrell as credit thing. Isn't that normally like a sign of prominence in the credits?
Yeah, but yeah, I'm not saying he hadn't done nothing before that, as I frantically bang up his filmography. But he's certainly a bigger name now than he was back then.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I would wager that, Ben Affleck was a bigger name.
I think, based on his performance, I feel like he thinks he's in a Tim Burton movie. He thinks he's in, like, a previous era of movies where super villains are supposed to be, like, big and theatrical.
You think he's competing with Danny DeVito's Penguin?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Remember when he asks for a costume and then never gets a costume?
Does he not? I thought he got, like, a new coat.
It looks like the same coat to me.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it definitely wasn't particularly prescient. It wasn't an outfit that ever popped out to me. He was just wearing random clothes. Yeah, so I've looked at his filmography. Prior to Daredevil, he has worked. He's in things like Minority Report. He isn't winning awards for any of it though.
Mm-hmm.
This seems to be. This is it for him.
Oh, it's a good thing his career recovered from this.
Yeah, I know. What would his career have been if we didn't see him in this that would lead into things like Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them?
Well, indeed.
I mean, I love Colin Farrell. I think he's a fantastic actor. I think he's a really strong actor.
We stand the Penguin here.
Well, he's been in some films that I absolutely love. Like, he was in a film that came out, I was going to say last year, but I'm forgetting we're in 2024. It was in 2022. Maybe it was called The Banshees of Inisherin. It's an Irish film, and it is tremendous. It's a story set in a little Irish island about a friendship that's broken up, and it's Mad Eye Moody from Harry Potter, Brendan Gleeson, and they're two friends. It's set in like 1920, and they were really good friends and don't get on anymore. They don't talk, but Colin Farrell doesn't know why, and it's supposed to be this little story that sort of mirrors the Irish Civil War, I think, that's happening in the mainland, because they sort of allude to the mainland and all that, right? Terrific film, terrific actor. When I see Colin Farrell in something, I pay attention. Let me tell you, Kyle. Colin Farrell in this, not in The Banshees of Inisherin, but in fact, Daredevil 2003.
Yes.
I hated it.
It's bad, isn't it?
It's so bad. Everything about it. It's. I can't believe that this was just the accepted quality of filmmaking, even though this same studio put out X-Men.
I know, it's wild, but seeing like his little like cape swishes, there's like a little like rattly noise when he swishes his cape, and he's always like doing like whistles and laughs as he walks along and all this. It's just bizarre.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite depressing, to be honest.
Well, shall we talk about how he's in contrast to, which is Ben Affleck as Daredevil?
Yeah, let's contrast them, shall we? Let's do that thing to disservice Colin Farrell. Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, I don't think Ben Affleck's particularly good in this movie either.
I think he's trying. I'll say that.
I feel like Ben Affleck is miscast in this movie, which I know is strange because he played Batman and he was a pretty good Batman. But something about him in this movie, it's like he doesn't have the right charisma for this role or something.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could potentially buy that. It's because he looks too rich, you know. He's not a good working class Batman.
He doesn't look good working class, that's for sure.
I don't like the silly early 2000s haircut. I don't like that. Like, he takes off the cowl and everything's just standing on end. I don't like that at all. I should say I hate the outfit. Like, it's
yeah, the costume is bad.
It's like a leather trousers with a leather jacket. I don't know what the hell he's wearing under the leather jacket, and it's got the DD on his chest, on like not just the chest, on like the breast pocket. And
the X-Men leather uniforms look so modern compared to this one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, this is Halle Berry Catwoman level, right?
Oh yeah.
And then the cowl isn't connected to the body of the costume, so it is literally just the disconnected cowl, which I know there's some interpretations of Daredevil where it is like a bandana over his head so you can see the tie at the back.
Yeah, he looks like a Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, that's not really what this is. I actually think in the posters, I'm looking at the poster for the film, it looks better. Because in the poster, you can be fooled into thinking it's a one piece.
No, but it's actually like he's wearing like a jacket with like a popped collar.
Yeah. And this, like, in the poster, it's all dark right down the centre of the chest. But it really looks like it's like a Captain America type outfit. That's not what it is, Nathan, in the film at all.
And I have a question for you, Nathan, and which you can't answer. Okay. Where did he get all of this stuff?
Yeah, he has like a secret room in his apartment. Well, he's a lawyer.
Yeah.
He's doing a lot of that pro bono work, I suppose. So where is he getting that money?
Also, like, he can't be making it himself. He's blind.
Yeah, he's sonar. He does it in the rain.
But he's engraving little things onto his sticks and stuff like that.
He's doing it in the rain.
He has a little logo emblazoned on his chest with the little DD.
He's doing it in the rain.
You know, the Netflix show has an answer to this. He has like a guy who supplies him with stuff.
You know, Kyle, on the poster for this film, it's raining.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I am going to say that he done all this in the rain. That's what it's all around. I also seem to remember Elektra having more of an uniform, more of an outfit in this. She doesn't. She's wearing nothing.
She gets kind of like a leather like bondage bra when she goes out to fight.
Yeah, like a corset. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty bizarre, and leather pants. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's not the 90s, but this is very 90s.
Michael Clark Duncan looks fly.
Oh my god, he does, with his big suits.
Yeah, he's bad. I'm a big fan of the big suits and the cane. Didn't like it when he just went down to his vest for some reason. No, you should fight in the full suit. Yeah, fight in the full suit and then just have it be like, you know, just
single
big punches.
In terms of having like the physicality that Kingpin has in the comics, Michael Clark Duncan has it because he's just a gigantic man.
Yeah, like I will say, when he's down his vest, I was like, man, you're the closest we're ever going to get to the Enter the Spider-Verse Kingpin.
Yeah, just a giant brick of a man.
It's just a walking house. Yeah, a really intimidating body structure. I love Vincent D'Onofrio, wonderful Kingpin, but this is that, and it's so underutilized. Like, you're saying this is the best part of the movie. I think that's because they didn't give him enough rope to hang himself with.
Probably true.
Like, I think there must be so much of this film that's on the cutting room floor, because to bring in an actor like that for a role that's nothing.
Yeah.
There must be... I want to see a cut of this, the Michael Clark Duncan cut. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, where you just don't have Bullseye and just have Kingpin be the main villain of the movie.
Yeah, terrific, right? And then he has his sleazy Smithers type from Star Trek Voyager and Star Trek Enterprise, who also has like one scene. He's in quite a few scenes of the film, but he actually only speaks in one scene. And like, there is a version of this movie where that's Kingpin and that's his sleazy, you know, attaché or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then we're like, no, we need someone like to be out in the field to have running punch fights with. Bullseye, of course. How could we forget Bullseye?
This movie does not really give a crap about the whole lawyer aspects, does it?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, you were completely right when you're like EastEnders slice of life for 2 hours. Because you go, you meet Jon Favreau, you sit in the office about how you need to stop doing this pro bono stuff. He meets, what's her name from the TV show? The lady?
What is her name? Karen?
Karen, yeah. Karen's in this, but she's like the receptionist, and she's only in one
it's Dr.
scene.
Grey from Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, is it? Right, I've never seen Grey's Anatomy.
It is the Grey of Grey's Anatomy.
It's Grey. The Grey, the titular Grey. Yeah, so she's in it, but she's like just tripping over herself in love with him, and it's only one scene, and she never shows up again. And Foggy's just like, you need to stop doing all this stuff for free. And he's like, but they're nice people who deserve it. And he's like, yeah, but if we're going to run this as a business, we need to go for the bad people that are really rich, Yeah,
Matt and Foggy's friendship in this movie is very strange.
Yeah, does he know that Murdoch has kind of superpower? Doesn't know he's Daredevil, but does he know that he's like only like fake blind?
Well, he continually does things that would assume he thinks he's just fully blind. Like, he puts the mustard in his coffee. He throws, like, a basketball and is like, oh, I got a score. But also, there's also a scene where he throws a basketball at Matt's face and Matt catches it.
Yeah.
So did he know he was going to catch it?
Yeah, he did. He was like, oh, those blind man senses will pick it up, hopefully.
Yeah, so... in answer to your question, both. He both knows and doesn't know about Matt's super senses.
The question is just yes.
Yes.
Yeah, like, the film kind of picks him up and drops him as well, because they go to this cafe they're like going to, and he's like, we got to be at the courthouse for 12 o'clock. And he's like, yeah, 12 o'clock, I'll be there. And he leaves to go do a thing that we'll get to. And does he
never go to the courthouse?
No, we never go to the courthouse. No, I didn't think we did. Right?
No. But yeah, well, that's also when we introduce Elektra, and Matt can smell that she's a pretty lady.
Very strange. So
it's very strange.
So we meet, as I mentioned earlier on, someone called Elektra, and I'm just calling her Elektra King from James Bond. The world
Was it Elektra Natchios, I think it is?
Possibly. The
very, very Greek Jennifer Garner.
Yeah, you could say any name and I'd be like, sure, why not? It literally doesn't matter for this film. And this random woman, completely random, chance encounter in a cafe, and he sees her, apparently, I don't know, walks over to her, and she's like, oh, are you blind? Because he's pestering her and she won't go away, and she looks up and he really is blind. That's it there, and all of his sleaziness is forgiven because she feels bad because he's blind. And then he's like, I'm Matt Murdock, and who are you? And she just gets up and leaves. He's like, I didn't tell you my name. And then Matt's like, I'm just not going to do my job. I'm going to follow this woman who I just chance met out in the street. I'm just going to follow her for no reason at all. And she knows she's been followed, Kyle, because she ain't no sucker. And she's standing in a school play yard or something.
It's like a kid's play park.
Yeah, in the middle of New York City in Hell's Kitchen. And then they have what I can only describe as a Matrix Neo fighting Mr. Smith fight.
I would say it's a lot more sexual than that kind of fight. There's a lot of like,
yeah, but I feel like the camera
close.
Pans back, widens the field, and then it zooms in for each individual hit or whatever.
Yeah, Matt's not being subtle at all about being a superhero.
No, but what are the chances he would meet another kind of superhero vigilante trained by League of Shadows, but not League of Shadows type person?
They don't even go into it in this movie. They're just like, oh, my dad trained me to do stuff.
Yeah, and your dad is the museum curator from The Mummy?
Yeah, he's just some guy. I guess he paid for all this training.
He's a very rich man. He's working for Kingpin, apparently. And then Kingpin, at some point in the movie, it's like, Kingpin's going to kill you. He's going to leave a red rose, and for some reason, he's going to kill your dad. And then he kills the dad. And it's like, oh no, he probably also killed the mother because the mother's dead, and Kingpin doesn't just kill you; he kills your whole family. If that's
there's also a plot point in there about like it doesn't really matter of Kingpin framing her dad as being the Kingpin.
Yeah, but Kyle, if he doesn't just kill you, he kills the whole family. Why didn't he kill Matt Murdock's senior son? Why didn't he kill Daredevil as a child?
That's a great question.
He kills the whole family. I'll tell you why, Kyle. Because they didn't think about it. They didn't think anyone was going to see this. They thought this film was going to be a tax write-off, Kyle.
Oh, is that a conspiracy you're getting into?
Nah, I'm just making that up. That's never thought. That's an original Nathan thought right there.
Yeah, Jennifer Garner, by the way, I would say horribly miscast as Elektra.
You think the two main leads of this film are miscast?
Yes. Jennifer Garner, when I look at her, I don't see like a badass super assassin. I see the love interest in a rom-com.
Yeah.
Is that mean to say?
No, that's not mean to say. People have a lane, you know? And people can break out of their lane if they prove themselves. I don't think this movie does much for her. Now, I, frankly, at this point, I've never seen the Elektra movie. Why did they make an Elektra movie?
Oh my god. I'm so fascinated by the Elektra movie now, because this was bad. How did it get a spin-off? What?
Literally a spin-off. I think when I was younger, because again, I've never seen it, but I maybe thought it was the same film again, but from her. I used to think that there was like dual perspective projects you could get, where it's like the same project, but just it's from the other person's perspective. I don't know what led me as a child to think that was a thing that existed, but I just couldn't conceive of why. Is it a prequel? No, she's alive somehow.
No, yeah, she's alive at the end because she leaves him her necklace with Braille on it.
Yeah, somehow Palpatine returned.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Somehow
yes.
Jennifer Garner's Elektra returned.
Well, she got stabbed through the hand, pulled the knife out, and just kept fighting like she didn't have a giant hole in her hand. So who's to say that stab would do anything?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I enjoyed when Colin Farrell gets stabbed in his hands, and he's in a church. And
he puts them up like Jesus.
He puts his hands up like Jesus, and I was like, subtle.
That's a symbolism right there, yeah. And that'll be one of the many times that like the church choir will come into the background of the soundtrack to let you know that religious things are happening.
Did you know, Kyle, that the Elektra movie came out 2 years after this?
I did, yes. I have our list up in front of me.
It's not like they filmed these films back to back and didn't know how bad this would be. They had time to process and crunch the numbers before they made that.
I didn't look into this. Was this movie a bomb? Did it make money?
I don't know.
Because that's what really matters.
This is the film that kickstarted the Affleck-Garner romance.
I know, and that ended really well. That
ended terrific. It's kind of they're officially divorced, but it's also kind of not over because Ben Affleck is a troubled man.
Oh, great! Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those. It's a weird situation. Also, looking at Jennifer Garner's Wikipedia page now, Wikipedia is not an always reliable source, can be edited. Someone has put here that she's also scheduled to appear in Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah, I heard about that. Yep. Have you? I haven't. I think that's just one of the many, many bullshit rumors going around about Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah, because like, there could be 1,010,000 different cameos in it. Like, Deadpool and Wolverine is probably a more fitting appearance for like a Ben Affleck Daredevil than say Secret Wars would be. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I still don't think this is happening. No, it seems quite unlikely to me. It does seem somewhat unlikely, yeah. But yeah, this is also part of the EastEnders disc. Like, Elektra doesn't have any goals as a character at all. No, she's just living her life. She's just living her life. And then the blind Daredevil man accosts her. That's the whole cafe thing. I didn't even think about that, but it's getting... What is, like, one of the richest people in the city doing, going to this random cafe in Hell's Kitchen? Well, she's not like a celebrity. You can just have, like, a low profile. Just want to live your life, go somewhere a little bit quieter, with the highfalutins of society aren't going to recognise you. But it's not exactly a safe neighbourhood. Is this like Watchmen, where she was going there specifically to get beaten up by thugs? No, you know, princess breaking out of the castle and going off into the common quarters is like a trope. Right, okay. You know, that's like, and I'm not this film. If that's what this film is doing, I'd say they were doing a bad job at it because we never see anything from her perspective before that point of her breaking out of her high tower or whatever, and you know the fancy parts of Manhattan. But I could believe that's what this film wants to try and imply. I'm reading into it. Well, yeah, okay. So they do the thing in the roof where it rains and he can see. Yeah, your face. I think it's quite an effective moment, to be fair. Yeah, I think that's fine. But then he hears crime, and it's like the Batman moment where he's like, I have to go. And then she says, no. And then he just doesn't go. And that poor person gets mugged. In the words of Mr. Incredible's boss, let's hope we don't cover him. You know? let Matt Murdock is going to be like, oh, I sure hope that I ain't going to be his defence lawyer. Let's give that case to, I keep wanting to call him Happy Hogan, Foggy Nelson. Yeah, Foggy, yeah. Yeah, but, okay, yeah, then they get invited to this fancy ball, which, again, doesn't have anything to do with anything. It's just, like, we can have a fancy ball in this movie. Yeah, well, it's to do with this. Is it not like a birthday?
Is it a birthday?
I don't know what there was a. I remember the ball. And I remember this is where Kingpin decides he's gonna kill the curator from the Mummy, Elektra's dad, and then he leaves. He like rushes out because Kingpin leaves him the rose, and he's like, "Oh, to hell with this, I'm going." And then Elektra leaves with him.
Mm-hmm.
And then does he die off screen?
No, he gets murdered by Bullseye.
He does get murdered by Bullseye. Yeah, you're right.
It's this insanely convoluted. This is what I was building up to, right? So, Bullseye, he rides the motorbike without riding it. He just stands on the front, and somehow the motorbike is going straight forward without falling over.
Skill.
Yeah, pure skill. Yeah. But Daredevil shows up to stop him, and they have like a bit of a fight, and this is where he misses Daredevil, and he gets all pissy about it.
Oh yeah, he throws the baton and it blunt force trauma. We alluded to this earlier on. Yeah.
Yes, he impales him with a blunt object. Her dad.
I mean, I believe that can happen. It's just all about force and speeds and whatnot.
What I don't understand is how did Elektra not see this unfold and see that it obviously wasn't Daredevil that killed her dad?
She was
right there.
Was she trapped in the car or something?
I don't think she was trapped in the car. She got out of the car and started shooting Daredevil.
Oh, yeah. She saw Batten and freaked out because Daredevil's already got a bad name on the streets about him, Kyle.
Okay, I guess.
But,
sure.
And no one knows who Bullseye is. He's just a random citizen with a weird facial scar.
Does Elektra know that her dad is in with the Mafia?
I think surely she must. I got the impression she did. I don't know why I got that impression, but
I don't know if that's ever explained in the movie.
I mean, why would she not? Like, you know, I kind of felt like it was just implied that she would. Maybe the film is trying to say that she doesn't know, but come on.
Well, there's another weird thing in the ball as well, which is Foggy. I'm going to call him Happy now. Foggy and Matt, they see Wilson Fisk at the ball. And they go up to him and they're like, "Oh, we need money. Let's try and be his lawyer."
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Matt's like, "Oh, we can't represent him because we only represent people that are innocent." And to me, that's like, okay, so Matt Murdock, he knows that this guy is a criminal.
Yeah.
But then later, he is surprised to learn that Wilson Fisk is the kingpin. And I'm like, you didn't know that at the time?
Yeah.
You just assumed he was an unrelated, less relevant criminal?
Yeah, I this is the first film I've ever seen where there's someone called the Kingpin, and people do not know that is someone who is Wilson Fisk.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's a secret, you know.
Yeah, it's like he is the kingpin of insert organization here, you know.
Yeah, if it's supposed to be framed as a secret, they don't frame it as a secret because everyone's just walking into his office and like, Kingpin, there's a problem. It's not like he's like a shady behind-the-scenes guy sitting in the shadows or whatever.
He's not Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget, you know. It's not like it's not like his Star Trek Voyager Enterprise Mr. Smithers type is like the face.
Front man. Yeah.
And then like this snivelling guy goes into like a back room, and that's where Michael Clark Duncan is stroking a cat.
He's just sitting in his big fancy office, smoking cigars, doing crime. You know,
he's doing crimes. He's doing white collar crimes.
Yeah, I don't. The fact that Matt Murdock is surprised that he's the kingpin is just very strange.
Also, were you shocked when you found out that he killed Matt's father? The film doesn't really. It feels like it wants it to be like a reveal later in the film, but also the rose is very prominent. And then when they revealed that Kingpin leaves roses at murder sites, you go, "All right, okay. Well, I was paying attention at the start of this film. It must have been Kingpin that killed his father." Also, the outline of the person that punched him in the face was very Kingpin.
The thing about it is, it doesn't matter.
Oh, no, it doesn't matter at all. Absolutely doesn't. But it's to tie it all back together, Kyle.
It's because in the Tim Burton Batman movie they revealed that the Joker killed the Waynes.
Yeah.
You know? And that's the thing you do in superhero movies.
It's called a bow on a film, yeah.
Just out of curiosity, what is the age gap between Michael Clark Duncan and Ben Affleck? Does this make any sense at all?
That's a good point.
I didn't look this up.
Never even considered it.
But they look around. They're not like that
Michael
far
Clark
apart, are
Duncan.
they? You look up Michael Clark Duncan. I'll look up Ben Affleck.
He was 54 when he died, and that was in 2012. So in 2003, he's what, 43 or 45? Okay. Maybe 45.
Ben Affleck is 51 currently, so subtract 20 years. He's 31.
Yeah, and Kingpin's 45. So there's an age gap there.
Okay, I suppose that works. Okay, fine.
So we're sorry, we're sorry, Daredevil.
Rescinded.
We apologize, Daredevil.
Oh, we haven't even we mentioned the Matrix before. We have a Matrix cast member in this movie, Nathan. What's he doing here?
Who?
Cypher. He's running around. He's being a journalist with a backwards artist
yeah, that
hat.
is Cypher from the Matrix. I've not watched the Matrix so long. I should. It's very strange. I'm not a big Matrix guy. I put that on the record. Yeah, that is him. It's very strange. So he shows up to the subway crime scene where Daredevil just inexplicably decides he isn't going to save this person and lets him get cut in half by a train. Right?
We didn't talk about one of the best lines in the movie. That's not the light at the end of the tunnel. That's the C train.
That's the C train. It's crazy dialogue, right? That I noted down.
It's such a terrible one-liner. It doesn't mean anything.
It means nothing. Like, he sees the light coming down the tunnel and he's like, that's not the afterlife. That's the fucking 7:30 to Kilmarnock. You know, that is the 6:45 to Edinburgh Waverley. You know, that is
it's so
just
silly.
It's like he's about to say something profound and then he just gives off like a train timetable.
I know, it's so silly.
It's funny, but I don't think it's supposed to be.
No, I think the movie thinks this is a really serious moment.
But to be fair, I actually think that it's pretty wild that Daredevil didn't save him.
Yes. Well, they established later in the movie that Daredevil doesn't want to kill people anymore, because I guess that was his arc in the movie. I don't know when he learned not to kill people.
He was fine leaving people to die, and then he's like, I reckon I won't leave people to die, actually.
Yeah, I reckon I won't murder the biggest criminal in the city, actually.
Killing bad for real.
But anyway, yes, Cypher. Cypher is allowed onto active crime scenes.
For some reason. He just I thought he was a detective at first because he's got the trench coat on.
Yeah, so did I.
But he's also got the hat that's like, turned backwards because he's cool. And
you're like, oh, he's on this Daredevil case.
Yeah,
but no, he's just a journalist.
He's just, how? Because there is like a uniformed police officer that's like, you can't be here. And then the actual detective on site is like, it's fine. Why is it fine? You don't like him. The film implies that you don't like him.
I feel like this entire subplot was added to the movie later because it never interacts with the rest of the movie.
You could be right. To like play for runtime or something.
Yeah. It's like Cypher and this like bald-suited police chief guy, they have their own little story going on that has nothing to do with anything.
And then at the end of the film, he decides not to rat out Matt Murdock for some reason. This is just like a non-explained moment of humanity in him. Where he's like, I'm not going to... And then he goes out into the street and he sees him top of a building. He's like, go, save the day or something.
Yeah, well, he figures out that Matt Murdock is Daredevil because apparently Daredevil's like... He uses like his blind stick isn't just like a blind stick. It's also his secret weapon, which seems like a bad idea to me.
Yeah, he like his official Daredevil licensed baton that he got out from a crime scene that was impaled into Curator from the Mummy.
Yes.
It is also a walking stick for the blind.
Yeah, I don't know what you call those things. There's probably an official name that we're being ignorant and not knowing, but it's the things that blind people use so they can see where they're walking, not see, but they can kind of touch things.
That is being insensitive.
Yeah. It's the thing that they wave in front of them so that if they're going to knock into anything,
it's like a cane.
It gets it first. It's like
Yeah, everyone
sure
knows.
It has an official name.
Everyone knows
what we're talking about.
Yeah, But he has a walking cane as part of his job to live his life, and he uses it when he's being a lawyer, and he uses it when he's doing his life. And then when he
fake uses it because he doesn't actually need it.
Yeah, but then when he goes into Daredevil mode, Kyle, he has his Daredevil branded batons. But the Daredevil branded batons can also be whipped out into being a walking cane that he doesn't actually need.
Yes.
Why?
I don't know. It seems a bit silly to me.
In case someone goes, hey, what are you doing with those Daredevil branded batons? Aha, they are not Daredevil branded batons. It is my walking cane for I am blind. Are you questioning a blind man?
Or I guess it's like, oh, well, if I get attacked while I'm in Matt Murdock form, but, that would be blowing your cover anyway.
Yeah, because why is Matt Murdock, lawyer of Hell's Kitchen, walking around with Daredevil branded batons?
Yeah, it's bizarre. And yes, again, it has nothing to do... Well, there's also the scene where Cypher, he goes to Matt and he says, oh, I think Kingpin's going to murder your girlfriend, dude. You should go stop that.
Gee, thanks for the tip, buddy.
Yeah, I never would have figured that out.
Yeah, you're go be the hero. Totally, you're right, Kale, that's totally all done in reshoots.
Do you think Daredevil, he's looming overhead while he's writing that article? Do you think if he published the article, he was just going to jump in and murder him?
Yeah, that was the like come to Jesus moment for Daredevil. That's where he could have executed Count Dooku.
Well, yeah. Well, Daredevil has the best catchphrase of any superhero in this movie, which is "I'm not the bad guy."
Yeah,
Well, that's something you really want your hero to think.
know-
That's what your big hero moment should be.
that's some real Rorschach shit. You know, that like this came out what 7 years later, Watchmen,
Yep.
and yeah. Everyone was talking about the Batman Rorschach comparison. What about the Daredevil Rorschach comparison?
Yeah, so he has this scene where he beats up this thug in front of his kid, and he's like, "Oh no, am I a bad guy for beating up this criminal?" Because I guess he never considered that people have families before. Because before that, he's in confession, and he's basically just joking about being a superhero. He's like laughing it up with the priest
Yeah,
man.
he's like, I know you don't approve of the devil thing.
But then as soon as he realizes that kids are scared of him, he's like, "Oh no, am I going too far? Am I the bad guy? Dun dun dun." And I guess that's supposed to be his big moment for when he doesn't kill Kingpin later, because he's learned a lesson from this somehow.
It's like, I scare children. I shouldn't kill Michael Clark Duncan.
Yeah, except the whole point of your costume is to scare people.
Yeah. Fear, I am the night. Various other Batman catchphrases.
He says he's the guardian devil of the city. And that's not a thing.
It's
You get guardian angels, but the guardian devil's not a
it's
thing.
a twist, Kyle, because he's the Daredevil. It's just shite dialogue, really. It's just bad.
That was another one. I can't remember who says this in the movie, but I noted it down. A man without fear is a man without hope. Are those two things related?
Yeah, I mean, the film says so. So
I think it was the priest who says that, maybe. A man without fear is a man without hope.
it sounds like priesthood dialogue.
Yeah. I don't think those are very good, very well-related concepts.
Remember, Kyle, Catholic guilt. They want you to be
Catholic
fearful
guilt,
of the
yes.
wrath of God.
Mhm.
You know, it's in character, Kyle. It's all like it works if you think of it in a metatextual level of society and how the Catholic Church is pretty weird. You know.
Yeah.
Kyle,
I
I just want
haven't
to.
mentioned
Sorry, I wanted to just bring up that
Yeah.
at the point in the film that we're at, roughly, there's 35 minutes left in the film, and
yeah.
I still don't know what Kingpin's motivations are for doing anything in this film.
I think he just wants to be a crime boss. I think he's just living his life.
Yeah, just as you say, slice of life. Yeah, there's actually nothing really happening here. It's not like he was going to be running for mayor or something. It's just another day of being a criminal.
Yeah, no, like Electra's dad wants to get out of the business or something, I think.
Possible.
And he knows too much, so just gotta kill him. You know, it's just business.
Just got to kill him. Yeah. So it's something that I haven't actually brought up, or maybe we did right at the start. The non-diegetic music here.
Yeah,
And
we talked about it a bit,
Yeah,
but
at the death of the father. We go to the funeral. You know, some time's passed there. You know, and it's raining and it's really sad. And My Immortal by Evanescence, for some reason, is playing, and it's not subtle. It's not in the background. It's the thing you are actively supposed to be listening to as a member of the audience.
It's the emotion of the scene.
It's the emotion of the scene. Yeah, it carries it. Now, I'm an Evanescence fan as much as the next person, right?
I feel so bad for Evanescence because I can't hear their music now without thinking of memes and jokes.
No, I can disassociate them, but I think that this is the ultimate meme usage.
Yes.
This
It's
film,
either this or it's Electra's training montage.
yeah, no, both of it. It's the whole film. It's like they're like, hello, Evanescence, we're gonna use 2 of your band's, songs
Most famous songs.
for a big new superhero movie. You've seen the X-Men. You liked the X-Men, didn't you? You've seen Spider-Man. Well, AVR done this as well.
Yeah, we're in a new phase of superhero movies, Evanescence.
Yeah, hello.
Don't worry about it.
Come have 2 of your songs be licensed, we'll pay you. And they're like, okay, this will be really good and poignant and fun, and it'll help our sales. And then the film comes out. And it's, My Immortal is the emotional sort of pin-up for the funeral. And it's just so, it takes me out of the movie that I'm like, what the hell are we doing? And then, Kingpin doesn't just kill you, he kills your whole family. And then after that, Ben Affleck is like, no, Jennifer Garner, don't leave. And Jennifer Garner's like, okay, bye. She leaves. And when she's at her home, she does a training montage. It's like immediately after it, right?
Yes.
And I should say at one point when he sees Jennifer Gardner leave, and he sees sad Ben Affleck, there's like a shot of Kingpin just looking over, being really happy with himself. He's just sitting smiling.
So yes, I'm breaking up this family.
Yeah. He's never even he doesn't know the relationship between Elektra and Matt Murdock at this point.
I guess Matt Murdock did call him a criminal at that point, so he's happy to see him upset.
He's happy to see him upset in the rain. He's like, "Ha, you don't have an umbrella, ha ha." But he's a little I'll give this scene one bit of credit though, Kyle. He can see it's raining, and then when she's like, "Okay, I'm done with this. I can't see you anymore. Bye." She puts up the umbrella and she sort of shadows out. Quite emotionally impactful, actually.
In a better movie, that would be quite clever.
Yeah, in a better movie, that would be quite clever. Yeah, oh, exactly. So she goes. We have training montage and wake me up, Kyle. Yeah.
Yes.
Bring me to life.
The messiest training sequence you can possibly imagine.
It's just nothing.
I'd hate to be her servant, having to clean up all that sand all over the floor in the training room.
Yeah. No, she has like a prototype Roomba. What's it called? Yeah. She got one of them. And it just cleans out all the sand. It's actually, she's doing this in the cat's litter tray room.
Yeah, and I don't see how this training is helpful. Nathan, I'll be honest, I'm not a ninja, okay? I can confess that on here.
Okay.
But
that's not what I was led to believe.
I don't see how this mechanism where it drops down the sandbags and you slash the sandbags, I don't see what that's training, really.
It's for her cosplay, for Raphael.
Right, okay, yes.
Because the only people I know in pop culture that use those little daggers is Raphael and Elektra.
I think they're called side knives. Could be making that up entirely, but I think those are size.
Possibly. Raphael was my most favouriteest of the Ninja Turtles as a child. Because I like the colour red.
I'm basic. I like Donatello. He's the nerd one, right?
Yeah, he's the purple one.
I don't know. Famously, the Ninja Turtles are tied to Daredevil's origin story, though. That's the trivia thing everyone has to mention when they're talking about Daredevil.
Do they have to mention that?
I think so.
Do I know this?
It's like the toxic waste that gave Matt, that blinded his eyes, it leaked into the sewers and it mutated the turtles and they made them into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Is that a thing from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle lore?
This is a thing from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle lore. And that's why in Daredevil you have the Hand, the clan of ninjas, and then in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles you have the Foot clan.
I did not know this.
I'm sure you must have known this at some point.
Well, I think as we've spoken about before, sometimes I have lost knowledge in my brain where I just forget something, but then like an hour later I'll think about it and I'll go, actually, I think I might have known that. But right now as I'm speaking to you, lost knowledge, Kyle, I'm afraid, if I did know that.
Sorry, we haven't mentioned this movie yet. All the fight scenes are terrible.
I thought we'd mentioned that at length, Kyle. Okay, yeah, well, for the record, the fight scenes are terrible.
Yeah, no, like, the choreography is bad, the editing is just awful, it's, like, all this, like, snappy, like, all over the place, and you can't tell what the hell is happening. There's lots of bad CGI. The fight scene when they're, like, running around on, like, the organ, and they're just, like, rubber men running up and down this organ, it's just bad.
Yeah.
And, like, Daredevil's weakness to sound is, like, so, like, first of all, I don't understand it, because shouldn't sound make him be able to see better? Because that's his whole deal.
I think
it's like sonar.
The way, you can be overwhelmed, Like, the sonic waves can be just so powerful, and it can, like, sort of short-circuit you. Like, it's almost like information overload.
I guess so.
I can buy information overload being a thing.
But also, no one ever, like, uses that in a creative way. It just kind of happens during fights and inconveniences him for a second, and then the fight goes on as normal.
Certainly not like Spider-Man 3 against Venom.
Yeah, well, exactly. When you see a shot where, like, it seems like Bullseye has figured out that, sound is his weakness, but then he just keeps throwing shit at him and doesn't try and make a big sound or something.
Bullseye's not a smart man.
That's true. You know what really bothered me too? As talking about the whole Daredevil kills and doesn't kill people. He throws Bullseye out a window and he lands on Cypher's car, who's coming there, and he looks down and he goes, Bullseye. Was he aiming for Cypher's car?
I cheered. I stood up at 1 a.m. and the house is in silence, and I erupted in applause. You know, I felt like I was at Taylor Swift's live concert, Kyle.
But really, like, that line doesn't make any sense, right?
I mean, no, I tried to just, no, it doesn't. It makes no sense at all. Maybe he thought of it after the fact. He looked out and he saw, he landed on that journalist's car. Bullseye. You know, like he's just saying it. He's just shooting the breeze.
Yeah, and he has a fight that he could end with 11 seconds by just taking his mask off or saying, "It's me, Matt. I don't want to kill you." But he just doesn't. He just lets himself get stabbed instead.
Yeah, until later on where he decides, no, I will remove the mask, actually.
I think she takes it off. She's like, I want to see the person who murdered my father before I kill you, blah, blah, blah,
and then when she sees it's Ben Affleck, it's like, Ben, of course you didn't do it, Ben Affleck.
Even though you've just learned that he has a secret identity as a devil man. What else do you not know about him? I would actually find that more, like, convincing as evidence if I figured out it was him. I'd be like, oh, you tricked me this entire time.
Yeah, exactly.
You were just trying to get close to my father.
Yeah, the film had enough sense to know we don't have time for this. You know? We've spun wheels in the mud for the last 40 minutes. We don't have time for this, you know? But thank God they didn't do that. I was happy that the film was close to a resolution. What is the resolution of this film, Kyle?
I guess it's the fight between Daredevil and Kingpin. I think that's supposed to be the resolution.
How is Kingpin defeated again?
He said he, like, breaks open a pipe that I guess is running in Daredevil and Kingpin's office. I can't remember how. Maybe it's like the fire system. I can't remember, but he makes a lot of water, which means he can see better. Yeah,
and he just kicks his ass.
And yeah, even though before that he's half dead, and Kingpin smashes him into like a bunch of the walls because he's a giant man. But then suddenly Daredevil can win
because water.
Because water.
I'm now surrounded by a room of vision.
He's not Daredevil, he's Namor. He's more powerful underwater.
He is Orm from Aquaman 2 when he's a really skinny man and he just goes into a droplet of water and comes out absolutely built.
Yes. This is the only explanation. But yeah, I think the resolution is supposed to be where he looks like he's about to beat Kingpin to death with his cane, and then he throws it down instead and he says, "I'm not the bad guy, I don't kill people." That's supposed to be the resolution of the movie.
It's reminiscent,
whatever the theme of the movie was.
Of Luke Skywalker hitting Darth Vader's lightsaber again and again and again until he takes his hand off.
And then he sees and he's like, "Oh, he's like me. I have a robot hand."
No, Kyle, that's it. He's like, he's a cane. I have a cane.
I also carry a cane that I don't really need.
That's it. That's it. We've deciphered Daredevil. It's a great film, actually.
Nathan, that is genius.
That's because he's like, I have Daredevil branded batons that fold out into a cane, and I'm using your cane as anger to beat you. I could become this. I don't want to. I don't want to become Kingpin. I will not let the hate be the better of me. That's it. You know what? Live recording, Kale. This is the benefit of discussing movies after you watch them. It helps you process your own thoughts and feelings and opinions and art. That's it.
The movie's great.
No, it's a great film. Great film. I love Daredevil 2003. I can't wait to watch Elektra 2005.
You know what I love about the end of this movie?
Yeah, go for it.
Nothing mattered. Like, Elektra died. No, she didn't. Bullseye died. No, he didn't. Kingpin's going to jail. He'll get out again, and they both know it.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. Nothing mattered. The status quo is maintained by the end of this movie.
Yeah, except maybe he won't let someone be cut in half by the sea train anymore.
I mean, we'll see. I guess.
No, we won't. No, we won't.
And that's not a blame shot. There wasn't a sequel.
No, yeah. Does Ben Affleck show up in Elektra? Is it a cameo? I think he does.
I have no idea. I've never watched Elektra.
I feel like I know that he does. Again, I've never seen it, but it's one of those things where, like, you lost knowledge. I feel like I've got an echo of memory there that says that he does.
Oh, okay. Look, at the end of the day, I'm kind of glad I watched this movie just to know. It's nice to know things.
It is nice to know things, Kyle. It is nice to know things.
I would be rushing back to watch it again.
Kyle, I was going to give this movie a 1 out of 10 for how I felt about it, because I thought the start bit with the backstory and Dad's quite effective. After, live on air, discovering my revelation with the cane, I'm giving it a 2.
Okay. That's very generous.
I'm giving it 2, because I think I've really stumbled on something right there. There's no way that's a
I think
coincidence.
given that we've never given a rating system to any of these movies before, I'll go with the 2. That sounds fair.
We're not doing it next week. We ain't rating these. But,
No, you know what? You're right. There's some interesting shots. You know,
Yep.
That's something.
There's some interesting shots. We like the sonar. I think that this film was strangely competent to do a little bit of backstory when he was a child, and the cane phenomena, and the rest of it.
Michael Clark Duncan is good.
Yeah, Michael Clark Duncan is good. Yeah, and the rest is just whatever.
Yeah,
nice to see Jon Favreau. Co-produced by Kevin Feige, by the way. Full co-producer credit in the main titles at the start of the film. Nothing.
What a claim to fame for old Kevin.
Yeah, you know, this could imagine this is what made his career.
This is the question, and including the DCEU. Is this the worst movie we've watched so far?
Still better than Birds of Prey.
How dare you?
No, is this the worst movie we've ever watched on this show? Oh. I don't know. Sure, why not? I don't actually feel particularly emoted to give that sort of insight. I really don't know.
You're not a hater. You're at your core. You're not a hater.
It's so easy to hate though. Yeah, tell you what, it didn't anger me.
I feel like because I'm not super invested in,
that's kind of
in
it.
the character of Daredevil, I'm not angered by it, but it is fascinatingly bad.
It is fascinatingly bad. It is.
I think this movie probably contributed to making Daredevil a less popular character, because obviously Fox bought him because he was a popular character.
Yep.
But I think this movie tanked Daredevil's cultural reputation.
Well, remember, there was a plan to try and retain the rights by making like a gritty 1970s Daredevil show. And
really,
yeah, this was after the Ben Affleck film came out, and it was like a.
I do remember there was some deal that they made where they got Daredevil back, but they get to keep Galactus or something like that. Was that it?
I can't quite. No, the rights just reverted because they weren't able to. Because you've got to put something into production to keep the rights, even if you don't release it.
Yes.
You must be making something with the character.
This is the famous story of the Roger Corman Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah, exactly, right. And they were in like discussions about making a Daredevil show, and it was like supposed to be gritty, and I think it was after everyone got inspired by gritty, like realistic properties after like Batman Begins and stuff. And this might have been like in 2010, but they had just left it too long, and the rights reverted back to Marvel proper before they actually got to do anything with it. And then the Netflix show obviously went into development. It's interesting that you can buy character rights, but then if you don't do anything with them, all that money is just wasted because it reverts to the original right holders. That's a pretty good deal. Like, for the right holder, I mean, if like you just got to hope for someone to be like, it's just an own goal. You were so incompetent, you just left it open. They were too busy making X-Men movies at that point, though. They didn't care.
Yeah, I guess, but yeah, that's like the Dick Tracy thing, right? Yeah. Like, there's the one guy who owns Dick Tracy, and so every 7 or 8 years he just produces some weird nonsense so he can keep the rights.
Yeah, I forget the actor's name. Yeah, he's like a known actor. Yeah. Yeah, I think that'll show into our love of Caravan of Garbage. I think they covered that.
Yes, that's definitely a Caravan of Garbage fact.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he does like these live streams in character as Dick Tracy so he can keep the rights to Dick Tracy.
Yeah, but he's not like a small-time actor. He's like a guy. He's like a Hollywood legend.
Yeah, or like he was in like the 60s and 70s.
No,
yeah.
I think even today, like he's still like a known working actor. He's definitely an older gentleman now, but yeah, it's great. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about. Well, that's it, Kyle. What are we watching next week?
Thankfully, Nathan, next week we're doing a much better movie because we're talking about X2.
Oh, thank God.
This is a real roller coaster of a podcast so far.
Real roller coaster of a podcast so far. This isn't stabilising for a while. I hope people make it through this initial stages, But the time we get into like X-Men First Class, we really start riding high for a while, I think. And a couple of dips. I'm not saying it's all perfect. Anyway, Kyle, where can the audience find you outside of this show?
People can, of course, find me at Kyle the Scot on YouTube, where I do video essays and game critiques on various things. I'm working on a video right now, which should be out soon, probably before this episode is out, but we'll see.
Okay, thank you very much, Kyle. And as always, you can find me at Nathan Tinney anywhere you social media Mastodon, Threads, Twitter, Instagram, Blue
You were going to say Hive there, but you call yourself.
Blue Sky. Yeah, I need to stop saying it. It just rolls off the tongue. I got a Hive notification the other day, and I clicked on it, and I was logged out. I was like, why?
That's enough.
How can you send me notifications if I don't have an account? It's like it's just
it's toying with you.
Such a buggy service. Anyway,
that's I see what you did there, because it's high. It's full of bugs.
pun not intended, but we'll take it. Thank you everyone so much for listening to us. You can, hear all our back catalogue of X-Men, all of our Into the Snyderverse stuff on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all good podcast stores. And we'll see you next week for X2.